Welcome, everybody, to the Village Board meeting for March 25th, 2021. Let's all please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance, followed by a moment of silence for firefighter Jared Lloyd and police officer Eric Talley, who killed and sacrificed this week serving their communities. I pledge allegiance to the flag
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you.
Amen.
Okay. All right. We don't have any public hearings this evening, but first up is, as always, is public comment on agenda items. So are there any members of the public that wish to speak on any of the agenda items this evening? There's nobody we don't know, so I'm just going to ask the general question. I wait, I hear the Jeopardy theme music in my head. So, okay, we'll move on then. Administrative business. First up is acceptance of minutes. So I'm looking for a motion and a second to accept receipt of the minutes of the meeting held March 11th, 2021. Trustee Beer, motion. Trustee Gomez with the second. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Vote aye. Approval of abstract. I'm looking for a motion and a second to approve abstract 20 containing vouchers 201620 through 201686, totaling $225,444.76.
I'll make that motion.
Trustee Giacomazzo with the motion and trustee Graziano with the second. Thank you. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
I vote aye. Looking for, we have a fire department, actually 3 fire department equipment requests. I'm looking for a motion and a second to approve fire department equipment request 2021-10 totaling approximately $3,505 for the purchase of 25 firefighting hoods and 20 extrication gloves. Request 2021-11 totaling approximately $56,181.96 for the purchase of 7 SCBA packs and bottles, 2 portable scene lights, 1 thermal camera, and 4 flashlights. And request 2021-12 totaling approximately $24,503 for the purchase of 5 APX 6000 UHF radios, 3 APX 8000 all band radios, 10 pager batteries, and 1 gang charger for engine 522.
I'll make the motion.
Thank you, Trustee Burek with the motion. Trustee Graziano with the second. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
I vote aye. Next is a fire department membership change. I'm looking for a motion and a second to approve changing the following individuals from active to inactive, effective immediately as requested by Chief Brazillo: Thomas Lackus and Brianna Wallace.
I'll make that motion.
Trustee Giacomazzo with the motion, and I'll take the second from Trustee Gomez. They're both great firefighters, but they're just unavailable to serve right now. So, all in favor?
Aye.
And I vote aye. Advertise for upcoming expiring terms. I'm looking for a motion and a second to authorize the village clerk to advertise for letters of interest from individuals interested in volunteering for upcoming expiring terms on the Planning Board and Zoning Board of Appeals. Letters will be accepted until 4 p.m. on April 16th, 2021.
I'll make the motion.
Thank you, Trustee Graziano. Trustee Gomez with the second. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
And I vote aye. Move on to old business. We need to schedule a site visit for the Pulver fill permit. So this application was last discussed by the board at the October 22nd, 2020 meeting, at which issues raised by the building department and village engineer Lindsay were discussed. The applicant was seeking direction from the board, and Attorney Norton had opined that not enough data was provided for the board to begin the CEQA process. There was also confusion about what type of harvesting, and that's tree harvesting, was being done, and whether it was for site clearing or for profit. Clarification was also being sought by the applicant regarding the buffer requirements. On March 10th, correspondence was received from the village engineer stating the applicant had staked the site and believes they're ready for the board to conduct a site visit. So we now need to decide when we're going to do that. So anybody have any thoughts on that? Let's start with, well, actually, we could even do it on a weekend. if we want to. So anytime on a weekend, early morning, in the afternoon, middle of the day, on a weekday, what do we got?
Well, CJ, you volunteer on Saturdays at the food pantry, correct? So Saturday morning is not going to really work for you?
No, it would not, unless we
Just
do it around noon.
It could be anytime, really. It doesn't matter to me.
Well, not this Saturday. We have
I actually have something on this
the
Saturday.
fourth degree, so we can't do that.
And the following Saturday is,
Holy Saturday?
what was that?
Holy Saturday?
That's
Is
the
that-
one. I was trying to think of it between Good Friday and Easter, and I just couldn't come up with it. Thank you, Andrew. Do you want to do a weekday before that? Do you want to do after that? I don't think there's any urgency on this, right, Kelly and or Desiree? Okay,
Do
Well,
you
the
wanna-
the week after that's the blood drive, so.
Yeah.
You're looking at the week after that.
All right, well,
Tuesday?
it's either that or we do it in the evening. I mean, it's light out till 7 o'clock now.
that's true. So we're on the 25th now. You want to roll back to next week and try an evening next week?
Tuesday's the only night that doesn't work for me.
Oh,
Hmm.
I thought it was the only night that does work for you. Okay.
Yeah.
How about Monday evening? Hang on,
No, I can't do Monday. I could probably do Thursday.
Thursday the 1st.
Yeah.
That'll work.
Oh, can we all go in and go April Fools?
April Fools, no permit.
Thursday.
So you can also go on separate days if you wanted to. My only caution is whenever you do the site visit, remember that there should be no discussion. You can ask questions for an informational answer, but there should be no discussion because it is not a public meeting and therefore we don't want any violations of the open meetings law. So even if you guys go in twos at a time that works for two of you, I would say let Desiree or Maria, Gary, somebody know so that they can tell Mr. Pulver so he doesn't think, random people are walking on his property.
Is it just, do we have to have anybody there from the applicant, or we're just going to go there and walk around on our own?
I think it's always better to have somebody there from the
I thought so
applicant
too,
so that,
so that's why
yeah,
figured
I mean,
we'd all
he
go
should
and
definitely
walk.
be notified when it's occurring, whether he walks with you or not. But I think he's going to want to, or at least have his consultant walk with you.
I
I
figured,
think Natalie planned on being there as well, and Gary too.
all right,
Yeah,
so
Perfect.
does
That was
Thursday,
my
April 1st at 7 PM work for everybody, or does it not work for anybody?
No, Thursday at what time?
7 PM.
7, I'm good.
Okay. All right, so then I will be seeking a motion in a second to schedule the site visit to be held at 7 PM on April 1st, 2021. That's a Thursday.
Make the motion.
Thank you, trustee Burek, for the motion.
I'll second it.
I see trustee Giacomazzo for the second. Any discussion?
Got it.
All in favor?
Aye.
But aye, very good, thank you.
I will let Natalie and Gary know.
Excellent, thank you.
10-4.
We have a bond return request for Central Valley Property Management. So there was a request received from Steve Esposito, engineer for the applicant, for a bond reduction that was posted for this project. They're requesting the $30,000 letter of credit be returned and the $10,000 cash be retained until the remaining work can be completed. Just want to make a note, it wasn't a letter of credit that was posted, the entire amount was posted in cash. So a letter was also received from the village engineer and the building department confirming the work has been completed, or that has been completed, and recommended the bond reduction. So I'm looking for a motion in a second to reduce the bond posted by Central Valley Property Management by $30,000, pending confirmation that all outstanding consultant fees have been paid and all paperwork required to be filed has been done so to the satisfaction of Attorney Norton. Trustee Gomez with the motion, trustee Burek with the second. Any discussion or questions?
Nope.
All in favor?
Aye.
And I vote aye. Okay, thank you. Next up, we're merging a couple of committees as we discussed. So the Comprehensive Plan Review Committee was formed at the April 9th, 2020 meeting and was to consist of 5 members of the public, plus 1 representative from the Planning Board, which was Chris Gerver, and 1 representative from the Zoning Board of Appeals, which was Andrew Zumas, with trustee Graziano serving as village board liaison. The Land Preservation Committee was formed at the April 23rd, 2020 meeting and was also to consist of 5 members of the public, plus 1 representative from the Planning Board, which was Sandy Capriglione, and 1 from the Zoning Board of Appeals, which was Craig Brady, with trustee Burek serving as village board liaison. Due to vacancies that have occurred on both committees, we, the board, discussed merging the 2 committees into 1. So prior to asking for motions, we need to decide on the makeup of the merge board, specifically how many members what we would like from the public, planning board and ZBA. Now, we can just go with the people that are left on that board. And that's one suggestion. We don't have to discuss anything further beyond that, but we do need to let Kelly know what that is, if that's the case, correct, Kelly? You just not, yeah, good. So we all know who those people are. Does anybody have any thoughts with regard to the number, if we want to change that and seek further applicants? Or do we want to go with what we have and then take it from there?
You're talking about what we have combined with the two
That is
left.
correct, yes.
I'm fine with what we have with the two combined.
All right, so that's 9 people, less the liaisons and the members from the planning board and ZBA.
I agree with Chris. I think if we bring anybody else new in at this point, they're going to be playing catch up. So it's a good team, both sides.
I agree. I'm not looking for any change myself. I just wanted to make that offer and allow everybody the option to weigh in. All right, so then I will be looking for a motion in a second to appoint the following to the comprehensive land Preservation Committee. Robin Kraus, Neil Kraus, Andy Zumas, Rachel Bruce, Sandy Capriglione, Craig Brady, Stephanie DeJesus, Dottie Morris, and Michael Coco. And the liaisons from the planning board and zoning board of appeals will remain the same, correct, guys? Okay. Kelly, you have that information? You could.
Oh, wait, we don't have a planning board one anymore, do we?
No, we do, Sandy.
Oh, Sandy's there. Never mind. Okay, never mind. Yes.
That's fine. I was fine with the total, just so that it's clear for the record.
Very good. Okay, so I'm looking.
Just to clarify, so Sandy and Chris Gerver from the planning board, Andrew Zumas and Craig Brady from the zoning board.
That is correct.
Chris is no longer going to be participating. Chris Garver, no. Yeah.
Okay, so will it be 2 from the planning board and 2 from the zoning board, or 1 from each?
Andy is just a regular member. He's not representing the zoning board. So you're going to have Craig from the zoning board and Sandy from the planning board.
Makes sense to me.
Thank you.
Okay.
So, looking for that motion in a second. Then.
Oh, sorry. I'll make the motion.
Trustee Gomez for the motion. Thank you.
Did you mention that both liaisons are staying?
Yes, I did.
Okay.
Was this the motion to merge the 2, or is this the motion to make the appointments?
Both. Oh, we have
I
to
think
do
it's the
two?
motion to merge the two
Oh,
and
okay.
make the appointments at the same time.
Yeah,
You're
that's
gonna do it all at once.
That's honestly what I thought we were doing. If we need to do it as separate motions, we can, obviously.
I just wanted it clear for my typing, that's all.
No worries. I was looking for a motion for both at the same time. I thought we could do that.
Both.
Both.
Okay, so we have trustee Gomez with the motion to merge both committees with the 9 members that are remaining, and trustee Burek with the second. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
And I vote, and I see several members of that new joint committee on tonight, so thank you for joining us. Okay, we now have up a decision for introductory local law 11 of 2020, bed and breakfast and boarding house prohibition. So the board reviewed the comments received on introductory local law, introductory law 11 of 2020, and have created an entirely new law, which is being discussed later in this agenda. So therefore, I'm asking for a motion and a second to not take action on introductory local law 11 of 2020, which would have amended chapter 310 zoning of the village code to remove bed and breakfasts and boarding houses as permitted uses within the village.
I'll make that motion.
Thank you, trustee Giacomazzo with the motion, trustee Graziano with the second. Any discussion or questions? All in favor? And I vote. Very good. Okay, so next up is adoption of plan for public emergency health, public employee health emergency response plan. I'm looking for a motion and a second to adopt the Village of Woodbury Public Employer Health Emergency Response Plan as required and developed in accordance with New York State 2020 legislation, Senate 8617B and Assembly 10832. Copy of the plan was provided to the employees union as required and no comments were received. This plan only pertains to employee staffing and work requirements in the event of a public health emergency.
I'll make the motion.
Thank you, trustee Graziano. Trustee
Second.
Burke with the second. Any discussion? All in favor? And I vote aye. We move on to new business. So now we have appointments to the revitalization committee. So the board created this revitalization committee at its December 10th, 2020 meeting to consist of between 9 and 11 members. We held interviews on March 8th and March 15th. So I'm looking for a motion and a second to appoint the following individuals to serve on the Village of Woodbury Revitalization Committee. Kate Luciani, Eric Luding, Teresa Luongo, John Kellerman, Vicky Essig, Mary Porco, Denise DeCuna, Kristen Bear, Beth Zumas, Randy Brogan, and Joey Gianzaro.
Make the motion.
Trustee Burek with the motion,
Second.
trustee Graziano with the second. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
I vote aye. Congratulations, everybody, for being appointed to that board, and thank you for applying. Next up is appointment of fire department recruiter. So in August 2020, our grant writing consultant applied for, and the village was awarded $146,000, 660 grant to fund the hiring of a coordinator that will run a volunteer recruitment and retention program. The goal will be to recruit 15 new volunteers over a 2-year period, 8 of which would be considered active. Funds can and will be used to purchase and install electronic signage, personal protective equipment, develop media, create printed materials, provide for new member training, tuition assistance, and reimbursement for books and lab fees. The board solicited letters of interest to the recruiter positions, and interviews were held on March 1st, 2021, and follow-up interviews were held on March 22nd, 2021. This individual will be working closely with the fire chief and the village clerk to fill the grant requirements and submit the required documents as well. So now I'm looking for a motion and a second to appoint Kate Luciani to the position of fire recruitment coordinator per the requirement of the grant received from the United States Department of Homeland Security, staffing for adequate fire and emergency response, which is known as the SAFER program. This would be a 2-year appointment and is paid according to the amount detailed in the grant submission, $18,000 in year 1 and $18,360 in year 2. The appointment will be effective June 1st, 2021. Thank you, trustee Gomez with the motion. Trustee Burek with the second. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
I vote aye. Congrats, Kate, on behalf of the board. Next up, introductory local law 5 of 2021, bed and breakfast overlay district. I'm looking for a motion and a second to introduce introductory local law 5 of 2021, which would amend Village Code Chapter 310 zoning to create a bed and breakfast overlay zoning.
I'll make the motion.
Thank
I'll
you,
second.
Graziano with the motion, trustee Burek with the second. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
I vote aye. I'm now looking for a motion and a second to declare the Village of Woodbury Board of Trustees as lead agency under secret for this action.
I'll make that motion.
Trustee Giacomazzo with the motion, trustee Gomez with the second. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
And I vote aye. Now looking for a motion and a second to type this as an unlisted action under secret. No?
Type 1.
I beg your pardon?
It's a type 1 action.
Type 1.
My apologies. It's a type 1.
Sorry,
action.
it's because of the amount of the acreage involved.
My
It's
mistake.
over 5. It's over 5.
I saw hands, but I don't remember whose they were. I apologize. Trustee Burek with the motion. And trustee Giacomazzo with the second. Thank you. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
I vote aye. Now I'm looking for a motion in a second to preliminarily declare a negative declaration under secret for this action.
I'll make that.
Trustee Gomez with the motion and I saw trustee Giacomazzo's hand just before trustee Graziano's. So we'll take a second from trustee Giacomazzo. Any discussion?
It's one of those Italian G's. What's the difference?
Yeah,
Doesn't matter.
Just so we're clear, it's not preliminarily declaring it, it's just
It is declaring. it.
declaring it. Yeah.
That I am positively declaring
Okay.
as a negative declaration.
Thank you.
I'm positive about that.
Oh, careful.
Any further discussion? See, I didn't want to confuse you. Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
And I vote aye. Looking for a motion and a second to refer introductory local law 5 of 2021 to the Woodbury Planning Board and to the County of Orange Planning Department.
I'll make the motion.
Trustee Graziano with the motion, trustee Gomez with the second. Any discussion? All in favor? I vote aye.
Aye.
If I just say trustee G, does it matter, Desiree, or can you just?
Yeah, they're both G's.
Doesn't
oh,
matter.
geez.
Both G's.
A little bit.
Village clerk says it matters, so we actually have to go with the names. All right. Introductory local law 6 of 2021, publicity fund. Looking for a motion and a second to introduce introductory local law 6 of 2021.
Wait,
Didn't schedule the public hearing.
Ooh, the other one.
Sorry.
You're so loud.
Who's loud? Me?
Looking for a motion and a second to schedule a public
I
hearing
didn't mean to be loud.
at 7:30 PM on April 8th.
April 26th.
It's on April 22nd.
Second, yeah.
Oh, man, you bet.
Because there's a certain longer time period for,
I got changed this afternoon.
10 days, right?
yeah, sorry,
My
I
apologies.
changed it this afternoon.
So I'm going to start that again. Looking for a motion and a second to schedule a public hearing to be held at 7:30 PM on April 22nd, 2021. Trustee Burek with the motion, trustee Graziano with the second. Any further discussion? Any further corrections?
No.
Mm-mm.
All in favor?
Aye.
And I vote aye. Thank you. Now moving on to introductory local law 6 of 2021, the publicity fund. So I'm looking for a motion and a second to introduce local law 6 of 2021, which would create a new chapter 59 of the village code entitled publicity fund.
I'll make the motion.
Thank you, trustee Burek. Trustee Gomez
Second.
first with the motion, with the second. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
And I vote aye. Okay, that concludes regular business. We can now move out to,
Gotta schedule the public
Public
hearing.
hearing
Yeah.
for April 8th.
sorry,
Sorry.
sorry. My head ain't straight.
Sorry.
I apologize. Looking for a motion and a second to schedule a public hearing to be held at 7:30 PM on April 22nd, correct? Or are we doing this one on April
That one's eighth.
8th?
This one's the 8th.
Entertain public.
I was
comment.
just really trying to, confuse everybody beforehand.
Apparently you confused everybody except me, or confused me and nobody else.
Okay.
So April 8th at 7:30 PM for the public hearing.
I made the motion.
Mm.
Is that Chris?
I said, I'll make
Make the motion. Trustee Graziano with the motion, trustee Giacomazzo with the second. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
I vote aye. Now we're done.
Okay.
Yay.
No, what?
You have the Shops of Woodbury Developers Agreement.
Yeah, that was added.
You said you wanted to add on as an extra item.
Right, I did, and I didn't have it in my notes. My apologies.
Did I just say-
Kelly, you want to take that?
Sure. So as the board knows, there have been discussions at board meetings about a developers agreement for Shops at Woodbury. That is the development over by where Melody Lane is. If you recall, back in December, you resolved to abandon that road and convey it to the developer. And it was subject to a number of items that for substantial completion. So there were negotiations held with the applicant. We came to some terms and I presented those terms to the board for your consideration after lots of back and forth. So it's up for the board if you would like to approve the document that I sent to you.
Okay, sorry.
Did anybody have any questions on it?
I was just going to say.
It's in your mind. You
Yeah.
covered me. Thank you.
So are we ready to vote on that, Kelly?
You are.
Okay, great. So, so then I'm looking for a motion in a second to accept the developers agreement as amended by Attorney Norton
I'll make the motion.
And authorize the mayor to sign it.
and authorize me as the mayor to sign it. Trustee Graziano with the motion. Trustee Burek with the second. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
I vote aye. Thanks for the reminder on that, Des. I did completely forget about that, even after I said I wanted to put it on. Okay, now we can go on to public comment. So anybody in the public have anything they'd like to say? Anybody? I'll let everybody unmute themselves if they want to say anything.
Craig Brady here.
Mr. Brady, good evening.
Good evening. Just wondering what the status of the Altice Cablevision renewal is. And clearly it doesn't have to be here. If you're going to have a public hearing or anything in the future, that's fine. Just looking for status.
Yeah, it's still in progress. It's almost done. We're waiting for some documents from Altice on that to review and to have council review.
Very good. Thank you.
You're welcome. Anybody else? Okay. We'll move on to board member and department comment. So early Tuesday morning, the emergency services community responded to what will likely turn out to be one of the largest emergency responses in Rockland County history. Sadly, we lost a firefighter from Spring Valley Fire Department, Columbian Engine Company #1. Firefighter Jared Lloyd was first to arrive on scene and ultimately became one of over 150 firefighters from 4 counties that responded. He saved multiple victims of the fire before going back in for another rescue attempt to continue searching for residents. Jared became trapped in the fire and was tragically killed in the line of duty. He was 35 years old and left behind a wife and 2 young boys. Jared is not unlike any one of the dozens of volunteer firefighters in our village department. He responded to many alarms in his community in his 16-year career, just as our local volunteers do every day. I'm sure his wife frequently told him to be careful or I love you on his way out the door in response to an alarm, just like I do with my son every time he leaves the house to respond to a fire call. Our local emergency services volunteers sacrifice time from their families every day to serve our local community. They spend hundreds of hours training and obtaining necessary certifications in order to have the skills needed to do their jobs. They do all of this without compensation, but rather for love of their community. Our local police department is out there also side by side with EMS and fire serving our community. As we know, earlier this week, a Boulder, Colorado police officer lost his life protecting others this week. Officer Eric Talley responded to an active shooter situation in a grocery store and was also tragically killed in the line of duty. These violent situations can happen in any community, small or large. Fires occur every day, and emergency responders, paid or not, answer that call every time. So next time you see a police officer, a firefighter, a paramedic, or an EMT, take a minute to say thank you. It means a lot to them, and it's the least we can all do. Jared Lloyd and Eric Talley served their communities with honor, and they died heroes. They both saved many lives earlier this week before giving the ultimate sacrifice anyone can give. I ask you to keep Jared and Officer Talley in your thoughts and prayers. Thank you. Chris?
Hi, good evening, everyone. Thank you for attending. First off, I'd like to thank Desiree for working extremely hard so far on our budget. She's provided some invaluable insight, analysis, and has worked really hard. So I want to give you kudos for that. And thank you, Desiree. Next, I would also like to thank all the qualified candidates who applied for the revitalization committee. You made our decision extremely tough to choose the 11 members. It is so nice to see that many people are willing to volunteer to serve their community. Kudos to all of you. As the weather gets warmer and we are able to get outside more, I have hope that this, combined with the availability of vaccines, will return some semblance of normal to our lives. I, for one, am looking forward to the simple pleasures of life, like having a family barbecue, attending a baseball game, or simply hanging out with my friends and neighbors. But most importantly, I have hope for our children. I have hope that we can once again send our children to school every day. I have hope that our children can once again freely socialize with their friends and simply be kids. I have hope that my senior child can have a proud graduation with his friends, with his parents in attendance. I have hope that all of our high school seniors can have fond, once-in-a-lifetime memories of their prom and graduation parties. And most of all, I have hope that somehow finally defeating this virus will allow people to relax, be less afraid, and start enjoying and appreciating life once again. Lastly, it wouldn't be fitting to let Women's History Month end without acknowledging the amazing contributions my own wife has made in my life. She has stood behind and supported me in everything I've attempted and done for the past 32 years, and I would not be half the man I am without her. I thank you from the bottom of my heart and owe you a debt that I can never repay. My love and respect for you grows each and every day, and I look forward to what we can accomplish as a team for what I hope is the next 50 years into the future. Good luck, be well, and stay healthy, Woodbury.
Thank you, Chris. Trustee Gomez?
All right, thank you. I want to first thank everyone for attending the meeting. I also want to thank all the department heads and all the village workers who continue to do a phenomenal job for our Woodbury community. Keep up the great work, everyone. We are so close to the end of this new norm, but not quite there. My daughter was sent home the other day from school because she was in close contact with someone who had tested positive for COVID-19. And the school was alerted after the weekend because it took almost 3 days before that person found out they were positive. It's unfair that they had to wait, and it's unfair that we had to wait so long for the results to come back. Thank God my daughter test came back negative, but she still has to quarantine and miss out being at school with her friends and teachers. Because yes, she is that kid that still likes going to school. I don't know for how long, but she loves it. So please, if you or someone in your immediate family feels sick, take the proper steps to get checked out right away. No matter what your personal feelings and beliefs are in regards to COVID-19, have a heart and wear your mask when you can't socially distance. And please respect the beliefs of others. Show kindness to each other, and soon we will be better off for it. Please stay safe and healthy. God bless and good night.
Thank you, Jesus. Trustee Burek?
Thank you. God bless you. Thank you, everyone, for attending. My comments are very much in line with Mayor Egan's. This week has been a very tough week for our volunteers. I grew up in Brooklyn, so I never truly understood the level of commitment of the members involved in the volunteer fire service. It wasn't until I lived on Long Island for several years and met my husband, who was a volunteer firefighter with the East Meadow Fire Department, that I truly understood the passion for service, community, and helping others that these individuals have. Their selflessness and dedication towards ensuring the safety of others is so embedded in the very fiber of their being. It is a calling to help others. It is a passion to give back to their community. It is a determination to be there for people when they're at their worst. These men and women sacrifice so much so that others don't have to. I remember the many nights when that pager went off and my husband flew out of bed and out the door to meet whatever horror was out there. The Christmas and Thanksgiving dinners that were cut short, the all-nighters that were pulled due to there being a really bad car accident or a serious fire, all to be lucky enough to come home in the wee hours of the morning just before getting ready to go to their paying jobs. But lucky they were indeed to be able to make it home at all. Volunteers share a brotherhood or a sisterhood that rivals even the strongest of familial bonds. When one of their own perishes in the line of duty, it is profoundly felt by all members of the fire service and their families. The devastating loss suffered by the Spring Valley Fire Department with the untimely death of firefighter George Lloyd this past Tuesday is one that not only was close to home, but it was yet another reminder of the constant danger that awaits these volunteers at every single call. To our volunteers here in Woodbury, the thanks and gratitude I have for you will never be enough for the sacrifices you make each day. You leave the comfort of your homes to race to the aid of complete strangers day in, day out, without question or hesitation. There's a part of the fireman's prayer that always resonates with me every time I read it. That goes, I want to fill my calling and give the best in me to guard every neighbor and protect their property. And if according to my fate, I am to lose my life, please bless with your protecting hand the special people in my life. The saying goes that not all superheroes wear capes. Ours wear turnout gear and a helmet. May God bless our volunteers and their families today and always. From the bottom of my heart, thank you all very much for your service.
Thanks, Tara. Trustee Giacomazzo?
Not everyone is blessed to be a father, and not every man is blessed to be a father of a baby girl. A little princess to call his own. I was so blessed. On March 19th, my little lady turned 18. 18. The notion that this little girl that I held so tightly as a baby was now a young woman just broke my heart. Where did 18 years go, and how can I stop and rewind? To make matters worse for this old man, we have been visiting colleges, beginning the next chapter of her story, and she is now a licensed driver. I never knew how hard it would be to hand over my keys when asked by my baby girl. The same baby girl I strapped in and out of car seats, drove to events, and drove to a friend's house. Now she is driving herself to her friends' houses. The thought that she may not need her dad anymore just took me back. You know you're getting old when things hurt that you didn't know existed. You have more hair on your back than on your head, and you wake up in the middle of the night to use the bathroom. But this, 18, I was not prepared. 18 years ago, we named this little girl Elizabeth. I wanted a name that sounded like royalty, the future queen of a house. Of course, no sooner was she in kindergarten that she had all her little tiny friends start calling her Lizzie. Knowing me, as some of you do, I felt the need to admonish these young ladies that her name is Elizabeth. That was met with laughs and giggles. Women of all ages have at some point disrespected me. I have tried to raise Elizabeth knowing how important she was to me, treating her the way she and all women deserve to be treated, showing her the man I was hoping she finds, someone to settle down with that will treat her with just as much respect that will value her. No woman should ever be disrespected, ever. Hopefully I was successful in showing her that disrespecting another woman by a man should not be tolerated. I am very proud of the young woman she has become. I, with an assist by her mother, have raised a wonderful human being, kind, thoughtful, always first to help others. I am so very proud of her. Another reason I bring this up is a year ago, this community and a family lost a very great man. That man was Bill McLennan, the father of my favorite village clerk, Jessica McLennan. Yesterday, Jessica posted a tribute to her dad. An emotional day it must have been for Jessica and the entire McLennan family. I say to Jessica and all the little princesses whose kings are no longer with us, you mattered. No matter that if that dad had one baby girl or several, you all were the most important people in that man's life. No dad can promise to be here for the rest of your life, but a father can promise to love you for the rest of his and beyond. As long as you remember your dad in your heart, he will always be there wherever you go. To everyone of the Jewish faith, including my mom, I wish everyone a happy Passover and thank you for joining us tonight. That's it.
Thank you, Andrew. I didn't miss any trustees, right? I'm sorry. Desiree, you have anything?
Nope, nothing at all. Thank you.
Okay, thanks. Rob?
Yeah, just one quick thing. On April 10th, Saturday, April 10th, from 8 a.m. to 12 p.m., we'll be having our electronic drop-off shredding event at the Highway Garage. Again, that's April 10th from 8 a.m. to 12 p.m.
Thank you, sir. Mickey?
No, Tim, thanks.
All right. I know I saw Chief Brazillo join at some point. Oh, yeah, I still see you there. Anything, Pat?
No, just to update you guys. We obviously 2 weeks ago resumed having drills again with a kind of a plan to keep everyone separate in the event of any COVID cases. And, if there are any, then we'll cancel as needed. And I just want to thank, obviously, the board and the residents for their support. I can't even tell you how many calls, texts, emails we've received, in regards to the Spring Valley fire. And, paid or volunteer, it obviously shows the seriousness of it. But just the way everyone came together on our behalf, we can't even explain what it means, for those calls and texts. I just want to personally thank everybody.
Thanks, Pat. Kelly, you have anything? Okay, I don't think I missed any department heads. So with no further business to discuss, can I have a motion in a second to adjourn? Trustee Gomez with the motion. I think I saw Trustee Graziano's hand. Yes, with the second. Thank you. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
I vote aye. Thank you, everybody, and good night.
Good night.